Hi and welcome back. I'm Susan Lohman, the Crochet Architect. Do you ever wish you could crochet a project with all right side rows but you're not ambidextrous? Well, I'm not either. I've taught myself to crochet backwards to achieve all right side rows in my project, and I'd like to share this skill with you today. So let's get started. So before I teach you how to crochet backwards, I'd like to show you why I learned to do this. This was my first Tapestry Crochet snowflake coaster, and this was all right side rows beginning and ending each row and turning the tails into fringe. This is the typical style of Tapestry Crochet with a right side row and a wrong side row. And you can see that the snowflake pattern is not as pronounced as it is on this all right side rows tapestry coaster. So what I wanted to do was have a more even look and more pronounced snowflake pattern. So on this coaster, I crocheted every other row backwards. So all of these rows are right side rows. This is crocheted from right to left, this is from left to right, and I'm always using my dominant hand in this. I'm not using my non-dominant hand because my stitches look really bad with my non-dominant hand. And the project that I really wanted to do in this technique was this beautiful pot holder. This is the pattern for it, and I will have a link in the video description. But I wanted to have, especially the tines of the fork and the rolling pin and different parts like that, nice and straight. I didn't want all this jaggedness. So every one of these is a right side row because I crocheted every other row backwards. And this is the back of the piece. So this is all the back side of the single crochets. Another plus of doing this backwards is, see the ridges every other row on this coaster? There's no ridges on this one. It's all flat because it's all the right side of the single crochets. So let me show you how to do it. Okay, I have this piece all prepared so that I'm ready to demonstrate a backwards row. And this is my snowflake coaster chart, which is a free download on my website if you'd like to get a copy of that. The link is in the video description below. So I have worked the first 3 rows. This row was a right side row and this was a wrong side row, which I crocheted backwards. So you can see these are all the right side of the stitches. The right side rows lean to the left a little bit, the wrong side rows lean to the right a little bit. But this is all the right side of the stitches, and these are all the wrong side of the stitches. So I'm going to do row 4 now, which is to be crocheted backwards. So we will go ahead and chain 1 and turn. And I like to turn my piece this way for this technique so that my working yarn is on the front, because I'm going to be inserting my hook backwards into here, and I want my yarn on the front instead of on the back. So we're going to carry this white yarn, because this is a tapestry crochet technique, and work over it. And we're going to take our hook and rotate our piece a little bit if we want to, and we find the 2 loops, top loops, the front and back loops, and insert our hook backwards. And we can keep our yarn in our hands, but I just wanted to show you where those top 2 loops are. It's the same as crocheting regular, but you're inserting your hook from a little further down on the other side. So one thing I definitely always like to do crocheting backwards is make sure my loop on the hook is not too big, because it can get too big and then the top of the stitch would be loose. So we're going to yarn over backwards to pull up our loop. And you see it goes to the front of the work. and our yarn is still towards us instead of behind us. Now we're going to yarn over backwards and rotate our hook and pull it through those 2 loops on the hook. And there's 1 single crochet crocheted backwards. Now we're ready for our next single crochet. Oh, but I neglected to carry my yarn. So let's go back, insert our hook backwards with our yarn in front, and put that carried yarn over the hook to get started. So we're going to pull up our loop backwards, we're going to yarn over backwards, rotate our hook, and pull through both loops on the hook. And there's our first stitch, and now we can do our next stitch. Inserting our hook backwards under both loops, working over our carried yarn, we will yarn over backwards and pull up a loop, and yarn over backwards again and pull through both loops on the hook. So this is our single crochet working backwards so that we get the right side of our stitches on the right side of our work. Now in this row, we'll adjust that carried yarn a little bit. In this row we have 5 blue stitches, and then we change to white. So we're working our stitches backwards, and this is 4 stitches, and here's our 5th one. And we're going to drop our yarn just like we always do when we're changing colors, and yarn over backwards with the carried yarn, which becomes the working yarn now. And we want to adjust this loop so that it doesn't get too tall, and make sure our loop on the hook is not too big. And now we can insert our hook backwards under the top 2 loops of this white stitch and around our carried yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over backwards and pull through both loops on the hook. And I have 1 more white single crochet before I change back to blue. As you can see, I'm still yarning over backwards. It's a little bit different wrist action when you're doing this, but it works just fine. So we want to make sure that our loop is not too big on the hook and the bottom of the stitch is not too big. And we can work our next blue single crochet backwards in the next stitch. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this row, and I will meet you when I get to the end. Okay, here I am at my last stitch of the row. So I want to insert my hook from the back to the front and get under both strands there. Sometimes the last stitch is a little tricky. The first and the last stitch would be the most tricky ones. So we pull up our loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And then we can chain 1 as usual at the end of the row. So if I were to work my next row, which will be a right side row, I want to turn it this way so that my yarn will be at the back. Let's go ahead and look at those stitches. We have 4 rows here, and the 2nd and the 4th row were crocheted backwards so that the right side of the stitches is on the right side of the piece. So there you have it. That's how to crochet backwards. What do you think? Do you think it looks like something you'd like to try? Have you tried it already? What are your thoughts on crocheting backwards? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about crocheting backwards. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos. Thanks so much for watching, and happy backwards crocheting to all of you.